Mighty asshole for telling the bride about an affair. Disclaimer, this is not my story. I'm 27 female and my cousin 27 female is the same age as me. I will call her Alexis. We were raised like sisters, except she treated me weird and always makes me feel bad somehow. My very first boyfriend she stole and did the deed with. She made this a habit. She would try to sleep with any guy I was interested in and was even successful twice. I'm also bisexual and she's straight. And she even hits on girls I've dated, then denies it. As an adult, she apologized and we made amends. I thought she grew out of it. Now she's getting married and invited me. I was dating a girl for a few weeks, so I asked to bring her. Alexis said yes. Me and my new girlfriend went over to Alexis' place together. I met her fiance and they met my girlfriend. It seemed to go fine. We talked about dresses and wedding things. A couple of days later, my girlfriend randomly dumped me and then blocked me. Our mutual friend told me she was now posting pictures and Snapchats with Alexis' fiance, like they were together. So my girlfriend dumped me to be part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for telling the bride about an affair? Disclaimer, this is not my story. So my girlfriend dumped me to be with my cousin's fiance. My friend showed me the pictures so I saw them with my own eyes. I had her screenshot them and send me a few. I tried to break it to Alexis as gentle as I could. She did not see the pictures yet because she was not friends with my girlfriend. When she saw them, she was furious and accused me of photoshopping the pictures to ruin her wedding and get back at her because my boyfriends are always more attracted to her. I tried reasoning with her and telling her I wasn't trying to hurt her, that I was sorry. She got even more upset and accused me, and now my ex-girlfriend is trying to seduce her husband. Am I the asshole here? They are still getting married, but my family accused me of trying to ruin her marriage and are believing all of her lies about me, but I think I might be the asshole. I wish I had just said I didn't want to go in the first place. I think she did everything right. She was just trying to tell her cousin that her fiance was being unfaithful and creeping around with her ex-girlfriend. Like, come on now. Am I the asshole for demanding my girlfriend not to use tampons? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My girlfriend, 27 female, used tampons when she's on her period. I have no issues with women using tampons. I have an issue with her using tampons. I have a few reasons for this. She sleeps with them inside. She doesn't change them regularly enough, in my opinion. She will wear the same tampon all day. I think it's a forgetfulness thing. She doesn't take the risk seriously. I don't know. This stresses me out because I worry she'll get sick. However, I have never made demands before recently. Her last period was almost a month ago, and it was traumatic. Her period had ended or very close to ending. The tampon was pushed farther inside her. She couldn't find a string, and the doctor had to remove the tampons with tweezers. I wasn't in the doctor room with her, so not quite sure what's the actual tools to get it out, but essentially long tweezers. I feel terrible because I was involved in the tampon being pushed her further inside. Her period is coming up again, and after what happened, I pretty much demanded she no longer use tampons. Part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for demanding my girlfriend not to use tampons? Disclaimer, this is not my story. She is furious with me. Says I'm being controlling. Says a man should not be demanding to women with sanitary products to use. These are things I agree with, usually. But I'm at a point where this is a hill I'm willing to die on. And it may be a deal breaker if she doesn't agree to this. Am I the asshole? She forgot about the tampon. She even told me she had taken it out. Another time she forgot about the tampon and pushed it further up with another tampon. Her friend helped her that time and she didn't see a doctor. When I say she sleeps with her tampon sometimes, she's been wearing them a long time before going to sleep, 8 hours. I'm aware of how long a tampon can be in, and the reason I'm noticing is because she's going way over. I have sisters, a mom, friends, other relationships. Their tampon habits don't bother me one bit. I don't even notice, but my girlfriends are particularly poor, and that's why I notice. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for inviting my mom to see my 1-week-old son? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Hi, I am male 34, my wife female 30. Recently gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. He is the first kid in many years in my family, and everyone is really excited about his birth. Especially my mom. She wanted to be there in the delivery room with us, but my wife said no, so I respected her wishes. I said she can meet him when we get home, and my wife agreed. Well, there were some complications in the birth, and my wife was clearly exhausted. In her exhaustion, she told me maybe that my mother waiting at the house isn't a good idea, and can I ask her to come after a couple of weeks? I was shocked and hurt. My mother loves my wife, and here my wife was trying to intentionally hurt my mother. But seeing her in pain, I couldn't say no and call my mother. She was very upset. Well, a week goes by without any events. I asked my mom again and again when can my mom come, but she told me to wait. Yesterday, my wife went to a doctor's appointment, and I was in charge of taking care of my son. Suddenly, part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for inviting my mom to see my week-old son? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Suddenly, I got the idea and called my mother who lives nearby. She came and met my son. The happiness I saw on her face was amazing. It was an emotional moment for me when she held him for the first time. Well, she was just getting ready to leave, but then my wife arrived. She got very angry very fast. She didn't say anything to my mother, but I could see in her face that there was some rant coming. My mother left and my wife exploded. I have never seen her this angry. She told me if she didn't even invite her own mother, then I should have understood that there was a reason. She was especially upset about me doing it behind her back. I said I'm sorry multiple times, but she is still angry. I slept in the guest room yesterday. I don't think I did anything a good son wouldn't do, but I do feel bad about hurting my wife. Am I the asshole? Y'all let me know if y'all think he's an asshole or not. I'm not really too sure. Honestly, it can go both ways for me. I understand him and her. Am I the asshole for wanting my girlfriend to straighten her hair more often? Disclaimer, this is not my story. We're both 28, been dating for about a year and a half. So my girlfriend has naturally very curly hair and she's always pretty. And I tell her this all the time regardless. But she's absolutely beautiful when she straightens it. When we first started dating, she straightened it pretty much all the time. And her hair was straight when I met her. But after a few months, she started straightening it less and less until she finally stopped altogether. A few months ago, I asked her about it and she told me it damages her hair. If she straightens it a lot, she only likes to do it on special occasions. This would be fine, except that she was straightening it all the time at first. Not just nice dates or parties or whatever. So I know it's total BS. I know it's damaging. I'm just saying it's BS. That she cares because she clearly doesn't. Anyways, I played along and politely asked her when she was planning to straighten it again, to which she replied, whenever you take me out on a date again. This is low. She knows I've been out of a job and haven't. Part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for wanting my girlfriend to straighten her hair more often? Disclaimer, this is not my story. This is low. She knows I've been out of a job and haven't had money to take her out very much. Plus, even when we was going on dates more frequently, she hasn't done it in a while. And again, she used to straighten it every day anyways. I kept my cool and didn't call her out on it. But I reminded her that I can't afford to take her out. And it would be nice if she could just surprise me with it sometime. She apologized for her comment and said she could do it for me. A week went by, so I brought it up again. And politely asked her when she planned on doing it. She said she thought I wanted it to be a surprise. Which is fair, but I told her preferably within a month. She said she'll do it so long as I stop harassing her about it. And I hardly call bringing it up twice in a week harassment, but whatever. I respected her wishes and didn't bring it up again. 3 months later, and she still hasn't done it. So I decided to ask again. She apologized and tells me she'll do it Wednesday for movie night and even bring the straightener to my house. Wednesday comes. Part 3 is up. Part 3. Am I the asshole for wanting my girlfriend to straighten her hair more often? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Wednesday comes and I asked her when she's going to do it, knowing that it takes a while. All day she kept saying she'll do it soon. Finally, when it's 7 p.m., she snaps at me and accused me of not loving her for who she is naturally. Which is crazy. Of course I do. She doesn't straighten her hair. We watched the movie in silence. She goes home and texts me saying she needs some space. I haven't heard from her all day. So am I the asshole? Yes, let that girl with her curls. Am I the asshole for refusing to buy my girlfriend friends tampons? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My girlfriend invited her friends to the house for some girls' time last Sunday and ordered not to disturb them. I spent my afternoon outside with the dogs to give the ladies some space and privacy. When I texted my girlfriend that I was going home, my girlfriend called me and asked me to buy one of her friends a box of tampons. On my way back, I reminded her if her friend needs, she could give her some of her own tampons. As I recall, there were plenty in the house. But my girlfriend insisted on me to buy a brand new box, specifically for her friend. I could hear laughter and some chattering in the background and realized that her friends were nearby, listening to our conversation and making fun of it. I asked if her friend set her up for this and she insisted it wasn't. That I could just buy a box of tampons for her friend, like I have for her. Part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for refusing to buy my girlfriend's friend tampons? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I heard more chattering and giggling and felt like a target of some sort of prank, social experiment, or TikTok. I then stood my ground and said that I'm going home, the dogs are hungry, and I won't be buying any tampons on my way back. Things were a little awkward when I reached home, and later my girlfriend said I embarrassed her in front of her friends, that a decent guy should not be embarrassed to buy tampons. I told her I wouldn't mind buying for her, but I see no need to play along with her friends to prove that I'm a decent guy. Am I the asshole for my actions? I could be the petty one to not have played along and humor them. It was not some big deal that should end with my girlfriend embarrassed. Also, my girlfriend kept insisting it was not a social experiment, so it may really not be the case. Her reason of why she did not lend her friend her own tampon was they have different brand preferences. The asshole for refusing to apologize. Disclaimer, this is not my story. So I've always been the errand boy of my family. If someone needed something, they would send me to fetch it. Yesterday, my sister asked me to buy her something for her. We have always had a rocky relationship. Sometimes we would get along. Other times we hated each other very much. One day, I overheard her talking to her friends about how I was a servant to the family and that I would do whatever I was asked. This pissed me off. Not once has she shown gratitude to me. And then she talked shit about me? I've had enough and no longer did anything for her. Whenever she would ask me to do something, I would refuse. She asked me to do something again and I refused. She got mad. She called me a useless and stupid moron, and I called her a whore. My mother overheard and wanted me to apologize, but not her. Part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for refusing to apologize? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My mom overheard and wanted me to apologize, but not her. I told her that I would not, and that I was done being a pushover, and she could not be a lazy sloth for once and buy her own things. My mother again wanted me to apologize, but I refused. Once my father got home, he heard the story and took my sister's side. He said sometimes we just have to endure it and not be angry. He wanted me to apologize as well, but I still refused. So am I the asshole for not wanting to apologize? Comment down below what y'all think. I think he's in the right. I think his family's in the wrong. She definitely was doing too much. So yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. And also, if y'all would like to purchase any of these products, the link is in the bio. Shop now because I'm selling out real fast, y'all. My asshole for pointing out that it's not my wife's natural hair. Disclaimer, this is not my story. So my wife has always had straightish but kind of messy hair. Lately, she's been doing all sorts of stuff to it and embracing her curls. As she says, I'm not exaggerating when I say she probably spends an hour working on it every time she showers and fixes it constantly throughout the day. Anyways, she keeps getting a lot of compliments on her curls, and when people ask her how she gets them to look so natural, she says it's her natural hair. Well, the other day we ran into friends at the store and I was introducing them. My friend wife mentioned how much she loved her hair and how she can never get hers to hold curls, and asked for advice how she gets hers to look so curly. My wife, like usual, part 2 is up. Am I the asshole for pointing out that it's not my wife's natural hair? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Part 2. My wife, like usual, said, oh, it's my natural hair. And my friend wife was telling her how jealous she was and how she wishes she could have curly hair like that. Well, it kind of annoyed me because, well, that's not her natural hair. She spends a good hour every time she showers on it and constantly messes with it and put tons of product in it to the point where I can taste it sometimes if it's in my face. So I said, well, I mean, that's not really your natural hair, but okay. She kind of paused and gave me a look and said, I mean, I do have naturally curly hair, so. My friend looked kind of awkward for a minute and said, well, time to head out. Nice seeing you, and left. The second we got in the car, she went off on me and yelled at me for embarrassing her. We got into a big fight about it and I told her I just think it's weird for her. Part 3 is up. Asshole for pointing out that it's not my wife's natural hair. Disclaimer, this is not my story. Part 3. We got in a big fight about it and I told her I just think it's weird of her to always say her hair is naturally curly instead of giving them advice on how she gets it like that. And at the very least, she could have told my friend wife that it's not like she was talking to a stranger. She got even more pissed and said it was her natural hair. And then we started to argue about if it was or not. Now she's not talking to me. Am I the asshole for limiting the amount of money my parents can take from me? I, 16 male, got a construction job paying $25 an hour. I work between 10 to 12 hours a day on weekends and maybe 10 hours in a school week. I have 5 siblings. My mom is a stay-at-home mom. My dad works at McDonald's and has always done so for about 2 decades. The only way we can function is through SNAP and other welfare programs. Recently, my parents have been taking more and more money. This week, topping out at $1,500. I decided that I was going to need to have a talk with them about this because this is like half of my money. They told me that me making more money was actively hurting the family because it increases our household income so much that it's starting to get us booted off some of our programs. I told them that I understood the problems they were facing and I said I'll compromise and replace the amount of money they lost 1 for 1. They didn't like this suggestion and said that I should be thankful that they didn't take all of my money to better provide for my siblings. I said that if they aren't willing to take that deal, part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for limiting the amount of money my parents can take from me? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I said that if they aren't willing to take that deal, then I'll be willing to give them $400 a month for rent. And if that isn't good enough, I would simply withdraw all my money, get paid in cash, and certainly not live with them anymore. They got all pissy and told me to go to bed and that we will discuss this tomorrow or when we have time. So am I the asshole? I think he's being 100% fair. Y'all let me know what y'all think below. Bye. I hope y'all enjoyed the story. Am I the asshole for telling my brother's fiance the truth? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 21 female, have an older brother, 29 male, who has been divorced twice and is about to get married to his fiancé of 2 years, 26 female, and she's having a party celebrating the fact that she got engaged a few days ago. I was invited, but my brother wasn't, since she wanted to have a little party with her friends, and since she wanted to bond with me, her future sister-in-law, she also invited me. So I started chatting with her and her friends, and later in the night, we started to get a little tipsy. Then suddenly, she started to talk about my brother, stating that she couldn't believe that he never got married before, since he is such a handsome man. But it didn't make sense that she said that since he was divorced twice, one of his former wives had a child with him. And she started to talk about him saying things that weren't true, like the fact that he was a lawyer, he worked at a hotel as a janitor, and that he was making $150K a year when he was making minimum wage. At this point, I was shocked because of how all the things she was talking about. Part 2 up. I'm the asshole for deleting pictures of myself from my husband's phone. Disclaimer, this is not my story. I can't explain why, but I absolutely hate seeing pictures of myself pregnant and ask people not to take them. A few days ago, I saw my husband had changed his lock screen to a pregnant me. When I asked him about it, he told me he had missed me and the baby while he was away, and that's why he took the picture and changed it to his lock screen. He admitted he had forgotten to change it back before he got home, and that every time he went on a business trip, he was changing it to pictures of me pregnant. I was upset and asked him to delete it. He said he would, but when he was sleeping, I had a nagging feeling that he hadn't actually deleted it. So I checked his phone. He had 100+ pictures of me pregnant, all taken without me noticing, including the one I asked him to delete. I deleted them all. Yesterday he noticed and was really upset over it. We had an argument and he made a big show of changing his phone password and implied he had the pictures backed up. So am I the asshole? I don't know. Am I the asshole for locking the door to the bathroom every time I shower? Disclaimer, this is not my story. In my current living space, there's 2 bathrooms. One is for my siblings and I, and the other is for my parents I live with. The bathroom my siblings and I use has broken down due to a crack in a pipe and some flooding that occurred. So currently, everyone uses one bathroom. After a while of using one restroom, I, 21 female, started to lock the door for privacy purposes. After an incident with one of my younger siblings, 18 male, who walked into to use the restroom, but took a picture of me in the shower. My older sibling does it, and so does one parent. But after a day of locking the door, my parents were upset with me and told me I wasn't allowed to lock the door anymore in case someone has an emergency. I explained what happened and how it wasn't fair that I wasn't allowed to do it when everyone else was. I know I'm probably just being a whiny brat about it, but I don't completely feel in the wrong on this one. So am I the asshole for locking the door every time I shower? Am I the asshole for giving my friend a bar of deodorant during a party after he smelled all night? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Last Sunday, I held a small Super Bowl party with 6 of my friends, ages 19 through 22. One of my friends, who I'll label as C, has a bad habit of not showering or wearing deodorant, and he sweats a lot. We were playing Cards Against Humanity for an hour or 2 before the game. While I was sitting next to him, I noticed that he smelled absolutely wretched. A couple of my friends who were sitting next to him were complaining too. I tried to cover for him by saying the vent for the AC/heating unit weren't cleaned in a while. I told my friends I'm going to go grab a card packed from my room, and I asked C to come with me to help me find it. When we got to my room, I made sure no one was following us and handed him a new stick of deodorant I kept in my closet. When I did it, I said, "Hey, you might need this. I'll keep this whole thing between us," trying to be as discreet as possible. The rest of the night was a lot of fun, but I noticed C was. Part 2 is up. Am I the asshole for telling my wife to stop making my sister feel bad? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 30 male, and my wife, 30 female, have been married for a year. My sister, 22 female, recently got kicked out by my mom, 58 female. for not getting a real job. It's my sister's dream to become a content creator. She has recently reached 3K followers on Instagram. She makes vlogs about her daily life and posts them on Instagram. It doesn't generate a lot of money, but I've been supportive towards her. After my mom kicked her out, I let her move in with us since she had nowhere else to go. And this is why my wife has been mad at me. She keeps telling me to tell my sister to get a real job. It doesn't help that my wife hates pets and my sister owns 2 cats. She even tried to convince me to throw away her cats. The cats also don't bother us anyways. My sister also helps us with chores and other stuff around the house. It's not like I'm financially dependent on my wife either. I am financially stable and make more than her, and pay 2/3 of the rent. I am the one paying for everything my sister needs. Our home is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, so Part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for telling my wife to stop making my sister feel bad? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Our house is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, so I don't understand what's the problem with my sister staying in one of the spare bedrooms. So yesterday we were having dinner when my sister told me she just hit 3K followers. She seemed so happy. I congratulated her. She was then talking about how passionate stealing my boyfriend from his girl best friend. Disclaimer, this is not my story. I have been dating my boyfriend for over a year now, and his girl best friend does not approve. Here's a little background. Me and my now boyfriend met in elementary school and have been friends ever since. We became really close once we hit high school, and he became one of my best friends. We both obviously had multiple best friends, his ex-girl best friend, who we'll call Emma, being one of them. Emma and my boyfriend used to be really close, like insanely close. They even took it to the extent of them dating when they really weren't. I knew they had on and off feelings for each other all throughout middle school up until the end of freshman year of high school. And I didn't have a problem with that. After a year of my boyfriend not having feelings for her, we began talking. We began dating after some time, and Emma didn't like that. At the beginning of our relationship, she would always talk to me about him, and I really didn't think much of it. But after some time, it got very out of control. She always gave me dirty looks, and always has to touch my boyfriend to get his attention. Part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for stealing my boyfriend from his girl best friend? She always gives me dirty looks and always has to touch my boyfriend to get his attention. Even her friends are starting to make comments about her to my boyfriend in front of me. She even gave him money at a football game to buy water and food when I already was going to pay for him myself. She always must intervene when I am trying to talk to him. I really don't think I did anything wrong here, especially since she used to abuse him, and he needed a reason to leave the friendship anyways. She still makes flirtatious comments to him in front of me and always stares at him. She even tried getting his attention at homecoming while I was right there. She always makes sure she gets under my skin, and I can't help but let it happen. All my friends say she's in the wrong, but I can't help but feel bad I took her friend. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to let a female student use the bathroom? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I'm male, 46, worked at a high school as a PE teacher, and I recently noticed that a student of mine, let's call her A, stopped participating in class, and her excuse will always be the same. Mr. Smith, me, I'm on my period. Can I please go to the bathroom? This carried on every PE lesson for 1 month. When our unit was dancing and I had to give each student a mark, at this point, A was continuously behind everyone in our unit, and I had nothing to grade her on. And I was getting increasingly annoyed, and up until this point, I had never told her no, when she always used the bathroom and would come back after 45 minutes. So once again, part 2 is up. Am I the asshole for refusing to let a female student use the bathroom? Part 2. Disclaimer, this is not my story. She always used the bathroom and would come back after 45 minutes. So once again, she asked if she could use the bathroom because she was on her period. And I just snapped. A, if you're on your period this often, multiple times in 2 months, then honestly, I think you need medical help. I have to grade you. Come up and participate. Later that day, at around 17 o'clock, I was placed on temporary leave because of the complaints I got from A parents. And A has also gotten her friends and their parents to complain. I was being called a sexist and multiple other names by the student parents. And I was honestly so confused. And multiple of the student parents threatened the principal. Part 3 is up. Part 3. Am I the asshole for refusing to let a female student use the bathroom? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Multiple of the student parents threatened the principal to turn to social media or even enroll the girls in another school because of me, since they felt unsafe with a sexist teacher. So am I the asshole? And what should be my next action to regain the parents' respect? So do y'all think he was wrong or right for what he did? But yeah, y'all, that's it for this story. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Bye.